Welcome to Season 3 of Back to Doc. This season is all about community and lived experiences. We will have testimonials, a very special guest, our favorite host from Season 1, Frank Donga. Today we're talking epidemics and pandemics, words that evoke fear in everyone. Whatever the specific disease, epidemics disrupt lives and devastate families. Before joining Frank and his guests on set, let's hear from a trader whose life was changed forever by diphtheria.
My name is Mr. Muyideen Adekunle. I'm 48 years old. I reside in Lagos. I'm a trader. My children contacted diphtheria. The first one, Abdullah, he complained of sore throat. So I didn't know that is a serious something. So that was on Friday, 7th of June. He complained of sore throat. We were treating sore throat. We didn't know it's a serious something. So we treated it for a week. After a week, the sister also contacted it, the same thing. And 2 days after, another sister. The boy that started it is 12 years old. The sister, 10 years old, contacted it. And another sister of 15 years old contacted it. So that's how we started taking them. We first take them to the health center in our estate, my two. But they say they referred us to Ajiro Regional Hospital. From there, they started treating them. They treated them there for a week before they referred the first one, 15 years old, the sister to Luthier. When we got to Luthier, they delayed the admission. I lost that one that day. So the other two, we faced many challenges because at last they took the other two in Lut. But during treatment, I lost the first boy also. But the third one, which is 10 years old, thank God that one is doing well. So we have many emotional challenges, financial. I've spent over 3 million. Still yet, I lose 2 of them. But thank God the third one has survived because they've told us that the diphtheria is no more in our blood. So we say that immunization is very important and vaccination because I won't say I'm the type that took it serious before. So it's their mother that do the immunization. I don't monitor it. But according to the findings of the doctor, they say maybe they were not immunized for the diphtheria. That's what caused it. So I will employ everybody. They should take the immunization very seriously and vaccinations. Anybody there that is abroad, we should please take it very seriously. So that we will not face the type of things I've faced here. So I pray any of us does not face such a challenge. So thank you very much. Well, the healthcare system, I would say they really give me some disappointment because when I first brought the first child that was referred to this load, they were saying there was no bed space. We were begging them. This girl is dying. We were there at the emergency ward outside. They didn't take her until she died outside there that evening. So when they referred the other two to this load, I was thinking the place that the first one got, I won't bring them there. I took them to a specialist hospital where I spent some millions before those who also refer me to Lut. I was scared. I have to call my friends that did anybody know doctor here? When they now get some doctor, they know, they say we should bring them. So that's it. And for vaccination, my view now is that it's very important. We take it very serious, vaccination and vaccines and any other ones. Then I want to advise everybody to take it very serious. Please, we should not neglect all these immunizations and vaccines. It's very, very important. So that's the advice I have for all. Thank you.
Now joining Frank and his guests on the set. Frank, how far?
I do. Thank you very much, Leah. And it's great to be here right here in the studio with 2 wonderful people that are going to be joining me for this discussion on epidemics. We have our very own doctor in the building, our very own doctor in-house, Dr. Anire. She's a public health physician. You're welcome, Doc.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank.
Back to Doc Season 3. It's good to see you again.
Yeah.
Great. And joining us in this conversation, to my immediate right is the gentleman looking all calm, but powerful. Onyekachi. Onyekachi is a graphic designer and also digital
marketer.
Nice. So To you, Doc, I mean, we saw that report. Pretty sad for a person to have lost two children to diphtheria. That's really, really...
In the space of 1 week?
Space of 1 week, that's sad. What, you mentioned things like sore throats. What exactly is diphtheria? What is it?
Diphtheria is a serious infectious disease of the upper respiratory tract infection. Upper respiratory tract. It is vaccine preventable, meaning that you can take a vaccine to prevent it. However, you need to take multiple doses and booster doses to sustain the immunity you get from it. And one of the symptoms is sore throat. It starts with sore throat and then fever. And what makes it so fatal is that the bacteria produces a toxin that can attack the heart and the nerves. Okay, and then people with diphtheria, there's also the production of a membrane at the back of the neck that makes it difficult to breathe and swallow. So it could be fatal in 30% of people who have it, especially if they do not seek treatment early. And even if they do seek treatment early, because of the production of the toxin, it can actually be fatal. Because like I said, even if they take antibiotics, the toxin can destroy the heart and nerves. So it's quite serious. And it's an epidemic-prone disease, meaning that it can be transmitted from one person to the other. So it can be spread by people in the community.
Doc, is there anything that anyone can do, first of all, maybe to help somebody if you notice that maybe the person in the village, a lot of our people in the villages, and if they notice something like that based off these kind of symptoms, is there anything you can do in the immediate, at least maybe help the person to have a fighting chance?
Well, when we notice that someone has diphtheria, what we do is we can give the close contact some form of antibiotic to help their chances, like erythromycin and all that, basically as a prophylactic. So that's what you can do. But essentially, the most important thing you can do is to make sure that every child is immunized, as at when they should, because it's vaccine preventable. So every child should be vaccinated. And even though you take all the doses, there are at least 3 doses of the diphtheria vaccine. You take them 4 weeks apart. And not only that, you need booster doses, because if you listen to his story, the first child that had it was 12 years old. And then another one 10. So it tends to also affect adolescents as well, and it's fatal in them. So in as much as you get your routine immunization vaccines, you should also take booster doses when you are an adolescent to sustain the immunity.
So sad to hear about that one. Looks like we are safe. I mean, look at you. What do you think? Have you ever heard of this disease before?
No, I've not really heard of it. I'm not really familiar with the disease.
I think Leah has something for us. Leah, what's up? What do you want to say to us? I mean,
I just wanted to add that it's actually an epidemic that is recurrent in Nigeria, in our country, where just from the period of May 2022 to October 2023, we have over 15,000 suspected cases, nearly 10,000 confirmed cases, and over 500 people that died. So it's very lethal as a disease in Nigeria.
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much, Leah. I mean, that's shocking. Thousands of cases like that. I didn't even know it was that prevalent. You don't hear of these things before, because you don't like big news.
No, I didn't really hear about it.
Is it the first time you're hearing it?
Yeah, first time hearing it.
Doctor, what's going on now?
The thing about disease is it's when it affects you personally that you hear of it. So we don't want to hear of it.
But are we safe as full-grown men like us? And
it can affect everyone,
including adults.
Yes. However, it is more fatal in children or adolescents. So it is possible an older person can contract it, but it's more, from what we have seen, is more fatal and more serious in in children and in adolescents.
Okay, meaning there's a larger chance that young children are going to be more affected. That
more
can take their
affected,
lives.
and also it can lead to death more.
How does someone contact it, Abby? Wait, I'm coming, doctor. because me and Onyekachi are on the same thing, because this diphtheria thing, I used to think it was one of those things they used to say, baby, you kiss baby,
Yeah.
10, 12-year-olds. And, and then this one they are saying it can affect adults. How can someone catch it? I mean,
So it's an airborne disease. So coughing, sneezing, close contact. Yeah. So you don't need to touch someone to get it. So if someone is infected, that's why from his story, you see it was siblings. It was being passed in the family. So it's airborne. So you can just cough and it's suspended in the air and person leaves the room. Another person comes in, inhales that and take. So yeah, it's airborne.
do you know if you got vaccinated against diphtheria when you were small?
I don't really know. I don't know. But according to the video, he kind of confused the symptoms of diphtheria with sore throat.
See?
Yeah.
See? That's
It started, like what he said, it started with sore throat. And most people get sore throat, they don't think much about it. But and then they were at home for a week and the sore throat progressed. And suddenly he couldn't breathe. And that's because there's a membrane that is formed at the back of the throat that prevents breathing. So yeah.
Because I think a lot of the times, especially men, we don't really pay attention to all this. He said that he left his wife to.
Yeah.
I mean, why do you think men take the back seat when it comes to vaccination? Women matter with children.
I don't know, men kind of take disease like, for example, even if I have a cough, I don't think of going to the pharmacy. Let me drink ginger and lemon, then I'm done with the cough.
Based on saying, a man, you be
Man.
when you lose guard.
That is it.
I mean, thank you very much, Doc, for that contribution. Also, when it comes to epidemics like this, are there other diseases that can affect populations? I mean, it's shocking that you and I are not very familiar with diphtheria.
Diphtheria, yeah.
And also, his hearing is killing people. Other diseases like this exist.
Yeah. Right now, there's an epidemic of cholera in Lagos, Nigeria. So cholera is another epidemic prone disease. Cholera. We've had, of course, COVID-19, which a lot of people know. Yeah. Meningococcal meningitis.
Doctor, be coming home now. You say meningococcal. We are just
Meningitis.
nothing but ordinary citizens.
Meningitis. Meningitis.
Wait, what? Step by step. We know COVID. That one.
we
Know the
know that
symptoms. Everybody is aware of COVID and prevention. Meningitis. What does that one affect? How does that one show so that we can know how to dodge?
It's a inflammation of the meninges, the brain. The meninges cover the brain.
So somebody has to be swelling. Like maybe some of your guys hyping. You feel yourself or how?
It's a very serious infection affecting the nervous system. And of course, it's also vaccine preventable. There's a meningococcal meningitis birth mostly in the northern Nigeria, but it can also affect the south because it spreads.
Where does that one affect? I know you said diphtheria affects the breathing. Which one does
The
meningitis?
brain,
Oh, the
the
head.
nervous system. Yeah,
People
the
having
brain.
headaches and so.
Headache, fever, stiff neck, unable to bend the neck.
Hold up. There was a day I slept. I woke up. My neck was. I couldn't turn like this.
No, that's.
I slept on one small chair. I was walking overnight. That is not. I'm safe. Not.
No, it comes. So it's not just one thing.
Okay.
So there are really a body of symptoms before you make the diagnosis, and of course some signs that points to it. But again, it is vaccine preventable. So when we improved our immunization coverage, we found that there were lower levels. So again, it's vaccine preventable. So it's needless.
Okay. My own even went after 2 days. After I've slept on proper bed, it went. So I'm safe. I think I'm safe. Leah, what do you have for me on that?
Yes, I just wanted to add that meningitis has had several meningitis outbreaks in Nigeria, with notable ones in 1996 and in 2017. The 2017 outbreak affected more than 14,500 people and caused over 1,000 deaths. So it's a very intense disease, and even this year in 2024, we're seeing some outbreaks as well.
Thank you very much, Leah. Those figures are shocking sometimes. When you hear thousands of deaths, that's not small numbers. These are people, even lives. And, I mean, they say it on the radio, but you've heard of meningitis before, too, just like me. Because sometimes it looks like it's only medical people that really get in touch with these things and know it because it's their work. But we are ordinary citizens. What did you hear about meningitis before now?
Well, we hear about the deaths, the cases, but as people who are not doing the job, like, I'm not people who are not doctors or medical practitioners, we tend to take the results or what they announce on radio and the news lightly. Not everybody will be that. They say 1,000. I'm sure it's just 5, 10. They are just trying to make us aware.
There's always that bias around that. I feel you. There's always that bias from that side. Like they're just they're hyping the numbers.
And we like to. A lot of people like to say, "God forbid, it's not my portion."
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. It can't happen to me.
It can't happen to me.
It's not covered. And we use religiosity to cover a lot of things we should do ourselves.
Yeah.
So we have a responsibility.
We have a responsibility. That's a very good choice of word.
Because and that's the thing, because education is not just my field. Because again, I think younger people too also need to learn to get information. Because sometimes, it's good that we have a doctor on set now, but we that are regular people, sometimes we just tend to look at it and say, it's happening somewhere far. Until it happens to somebody that you know. Because these numbers that Leah just gave us, these are shocking numbers. Thousands of cases and almost the equal number of deaths. It's critical. Apart from meningitis, you mentioned COVID, you talked about diphtheria. Which other?
Okay, we have Lassa fever. Lassa fever, that's also very fatal. Kills a lot of people. Lassa fever. Polio used to be a problem, but Nigeria has been certified free from polio, from a wild polio virus. Yeah, that's one of the successes of immunization and vaccination. So I've said COVID. I've said HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. So right now it's under control.
Okay.
But it used to be in the 90s. A lot of people suffered from HIV. It was an epidemic. In fact, it was a pandemic because it affected. It was not just in Nigeria. It crossed international boundaries. There's what we call epidemic and there's what we call a pandemic. Epidemic is when you have a disease in excess of what is expected. So there's something as doctors, there's some diseases you expect to have. Okay. However, when the number of cases are above what is expected, you say, okay, this is an epidemic. So a pandemic is an epidemic that has crossed national boundaries. It has affected a large number of people, and there's a lot of impact, like what COVID did to us. So it usually starts as an epidemic. If it's not well controlled, it can progress to a pandemic.
HIV, I think they said HIV. Bros, they don't control that one now.
Well, it's to a large extent is under control. It's still there.
It's treatable now.
Yeah.
No, it's now a chronic condition. So to say, with research has been able to help us with highly active antiretroviral therapy. So it's not a death sentence anymore as it used to be in the past, but it's still.
What about vaccine for that one?
There's no vaccine yet.
No
We are still
vaccine.
waiting.
So the best vaccine is just is it the ABC or?
Yes, that's
have you heard about
conversation.
that one? AB doctor. Which one is the AB? Avoidance,
Abstinence, faithful, use a condom, but that's another conversation.
Like in short, maintain your
Stop no. You know what it is now. Just lock up. Hey, maintain composure.
That is it.
Keep your steez. This Lassa fever that you mentioned. I want to. Have you come across that?
Yeah, I came across Lassa fever in secondary school. Directly.
Where did it catch you?
Well, it did catch me, but like where we
Next
were.
time you speak on time.
Oh no, it did catch me. But where we were like kind of informed that we should watch out because some people were being affected by it and it wasn't too good. But the day it really caught me was the day I like saw the rat face to face, and I was confused because normally people are like, that is the kind of rat is when you're sleeping.
That's it.
But that day, all of us were in class, so we saw the big rat. At first, everybody was like, oh no, it's just a normal rat. But then, when we looked at it properly, we all knew it was Lassa, so everybody ran off.
Wait, were you in boarding school?
Yeah, I was in
boarding house. And the rat used to eat your provision. Now, that's it now. When rat is touching your... doctor, how does this spread?
Yeah, when the mastomys rat is a different kind of rat that causes...
that's a rat in their school. Don't worry. Don't tell us your school. So that
mastomys rat, that's the one that transmits Lassa fever. And how does it do that? By urinating on things we
Provision.
eat, like gari, you know. And then so you eat that soiled food, but most times it's not food alone. It's not when you eat food. It's when you have close contact with people that already have Lassa fever. So it spreads person to person.
How? Through saliva, by handshake, or by looking?
Close contact can.
Close contact.
Close contact.
How
can.
close are we talking? Okay, very good. I leave it like that. Leave very close contact.
A lot of doctors come down with Lassa fever, even though they use the correct personal protective equipment. That's to show you how much it can spread. So they are aware. So it's very easily transmissible.
Wow. So
Then we also have Ebola virus. Okay, there's no.
It's just treatment for that one.
But yes, for now there's no.
How do you prevent Lassa fever? Just by, apart from covering. Okay, you said it from person to person.
So number one, get rid
He
of.
needs to know, just in case. Okay, you have left.
Everybody else.
But they say you should cover your gari and.
So there are different levels of prevention. We can start by preventing the vector that transmits the infection, which is the mastomys rats. We can do control of that vector in terms of biological control, rat poisoning and all that. And then, of course, keeping your food properly, storing your grains like your gari and storing them well. Okay.
In this period that everything is very expensive, I mean, gari, you can't joke with gari. Because I know some people, if they are drinking juice and housefly flies into it, they will squeeze their juice from the fly and throw it away. But they can't waste any. No time for wasting. This period is very. Can cooking do anything in case he touches the provision? Like my brother here, that rats used to eat his provision. Not now, as in that time.
That time.
Oh, don't worry, I got you. Can cooking help?
No, generally, cooking has been saving lives.
Hey,
Generally, apart from Lassa, for other infectious diseases. When you cook, that's why a lot of us, we are being saved in Africa, because we like hot food. So cooking tends to kill germs, especially if you cook for a high temperature. Generally, it can help, but
so avoid pests.
Eradicate the vectors as much as possible.
Cover your food, especially rats. And cholera. What transmits that one?
Oh, cholera. That's fecal oral. So meaning it's
come home.
It's spread.
Which animal is cholera?
No, fecal feces.
Is that what you give fine name like that? Hey, doctor.
So fecal oral cholera. It's also a bacteria infection, and it happens when you eat food or water contaminated by the bacteria that causes cholera, Vibrio cholerae. So how do you get it? If someone that has the disease maybe goes to the toilet, did not wash hands properly, goes to cook your food, or your water has been contaminated somehow by the bacteria, it's highly transmissible. So you might not know, or food is not, eating salads, things that are not cooked. So it's spread through the mouth. And that's why the symptoms are also in the digestive system, in terms of intense stooling, vomiting, fever.
We wanted to ask a question just now.
I was saying, like, for cholera, like, flies do play a part. Or
do they?
They don't. Because when you talk about feces, I see like a fly coming
Yes,
in there.
How feces?
But most times, I'm not gonna. In medicine, we say never say never. So it's possible, because a fly can perch from one place.
Yes, now
carry it
from
to
short puts. Where the short puts come to your?
Yeah.
It could be that they are maybe eating one sweet rice.
Exactly.
The big chicken, the fly will like, please, my chicken is important.
Especially if you buy food outside where the restaurant is not restoring very well.
Exactly.
Some restaurants are not restoring very well. And the location is not.
But most times, contaminated water, someone cooking your food and they didn't wash hands properly, the food is contaminated, the water is contaminated. So source of water supply.
See, Ekachi, I think one thing is, the way doctor is saying all these things, it's still based on steez. Because that's the word of the season now. Just maintain that hygiene. I think from what you said, a lot can be prevented by maintaining this hygiene, washing water, covering food, avoiding rat eating our provision, stuff like that.
There's also a vaccine for cholera. However, it's not part of the, yes, there is. Okay. But it's not part of the routine immunization schedule. And sometimes it's not very practical to give in an outbreak. Most times, the mainstay of prevention and treatment is sanitation, hygiene and sanitation. So where there's potable water, clean water, people adhere, wash your hands, but good drinking water, most times you don't find cholera.
I like the fact that you've also, mentioned sanitation, hygiene, and then vaccine. I want you to come back to that vaccine very soon. You mentioned vaccination schedule. I would like you to break it down for young children and the ones that adults can take. But Leah has something to tell us. Leah, what's up? Talk to me.
I was very interested in the conversation you were having right now and actually wanted to ask a question to the set and particularly to Doctor. In the list of diseases you've spoken to, diphtheria, meningitis, Lassa fever, cholera, maybe add a little bit on yellow fever and measles. Are all of those vaccine preventable? And as adults that are hearing you right now or are hearing the show, hearing you discuss it, is this something that we can actually make the choice today to say, not wait for an outbreak, but make sure that we are vaccinated against today? Or is it something that if it's not necessarily practical, we should wait, in addition, of course, to taking care of all of the sanitary, hygiene, and efforts that we have to take?
So one of the mainstay of prevention and control of most infectious diseases is vaccination. Immunization and vaccination is one of the successes of modern medicine, saving lives, averting over 3 to 3.5 million deaths every year.
Wow.
So what I'm trying to say is about 3 million or 3.5 million people would have died if not for vaccine and immunization. So it's a very cost-effective way of preventing disease. Okay, and there's a schedule for vaccination. You're going to ask that, and I'll say that. So at birth, we advise in Nigeria there's a routine immunization schedule. At birth, children immediately they're born should get BCG vaccine against tuberculosis. They should get hepatitis B against hepatitis. They should get the OPV, oral polio vaccine, against polio. At 6 weeks, you come again. There's you have the one we call Penta, which protects against 5 different diseases, including diphtheria, which I just mentioned, pertussis, tetanus, hepatitis B again, and Haemophilus influenza type B, which causes pneumonia. At 10 weeks, and then we've just also introduced the IPV, inactivated polio vaccine. At 10 weeks, you repeat those. 6 weeks, you also get pneumococcal. There's something called pneumococcal vaccine, also against pneumonia. At 10 weeks, you repeat that. Also, at 6 weeks, there's something called rotavirus vaccine, which prevents diarrhea in children.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. 14 weeks, you repeat, 14 weeks. And then you wait till 6 months, you get vitamin A. Then 9 months, measles, yellow fever, and then meningococcal vaccine. And then 6 months later, another dose of measles. And you have completed and now they've just newly introduced the HPV vaccine for young girls 9 to 14 years.
Oh, wow.
So
what does that prevent?
Human HPV vaccine, human papilloma virus vaccine. It prevents cervical cancer.
Oh.
Yes, which is the only vaccine available to prevent cancer.
Wow.
So we'll talk about that in another episode.
Well, it's only for young girls.
Well,
What happened to young boys?
no, young boys will benefit from the vaccine as well. So male and female. It's just that right now in Nigeria, they're just making it free for girls.
Okay.
Perhaps funding, because it's not cheap to make
wow.
vaccines available. However, if your males can get it and you can pay for it, why not? Males also get HPV and the diseases it causes, which we'll discuss in another episode, hopefully.
That's good, but all these are for children and teenagers. Anything for the boys or grown-up men?
Yes, yeah, of course. Adolescent. So I've said booster doses of diphtheria, tetanus. Tetanus can affect anybody at any age, and there's a schedule for it. You need at least 5 doses. There's the rubella vaccine for women of reproductive age, hepatitis B as well, HPV, okay, and then older adults. There are also vaccines for older adults which they need, meningococcal, pneumococcal. People, and then you also require some vaccines.
That's a lot. I know. I know I'm not the only person wondering. But you're just going on and on. I'm not a
I was
doctor.
like, just give it the list. How this thing costs here or how?
She must tell us where people can go and access on this. Because I can't remember if you are as a daddy now. How
Frank?
many do you want to require? I mean, thank you very much, Doc, for all that list. I mean, where can people even get more information on vaccines? Because I know you mentioned epidemics and prevent, and you've given us very good info. You don't give us shortcut of washing hands, preventing close contact with sick individuals, and she also make her even test you now. What test did she mention? What can you remember?
I can't remember the list of vaccines she gave, and mostly said that it's more sanitation, making sure you're clean, you're fresh.
Prevention is better than
Prevention is better.
That's for cholera, the sanitation.
Yeah.
and epidemics generally. But when you hear epidemics generally, what comes to your mind?
But the one that struck the most was coronavirus.
Corona, and then that time was Ebola.
Ebola, yeah.
Ebola.
Prevention.
So that Ebola period was you come close, the person will look at you like, you stand back.
Yeah. So just maintain their lane composure. Thank you very much for that, doctor. So, as far as, because me personally, I mean, what I've taken away from what doctor has said is to make sure that we stay on guard as far as epidemics is concerned. Make sure that vaccination schedules, the ones that are vaccine preventable, we take them when we are young. You know the vaccine that you took when you are young? You know.
I know I took for like tetanus. That's the only one I know. I know there was a list, but I only remember tetanus.
They did show you the list when they were giving you.
No.
You are too young.
I was too young.
But I'm sure this information people can access it through their community health.
So your primary healthcare center, PHC. When there are epidemics, there's usually what we call risk communication, radio, TV, where you get information from a verifiable source, usually the government or the Ministry of Health. Okay, so let's be very careful who we listen to. Social media is not officially a source of information, except you're going to the handles of places like Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Infection, the Federal Ministry of Health, or doctors like us that are certified to get that information from, because you should not listen to everybody. One of the problems we are having is a lot of people rejecting vaccines because of what they've heard on social media. Who said it? They don't know. They just heard, don't take it. They want to. There are many things they say.
Yeah, conspiration. The coronavirus was a lot of people are like, oh no, don't take it. If you take it, you have cancer later.
Die. They want to
die, or you won't be able to give birth again. So
there's a lot of mistrust. That's one, but there's also a lot of misinformation and disinformation, wrong information. Some people do it on purpose. That's disinformation, misinformation. They don't do it on purpose. They just feel they feel they are doing the public a favor, but you are not. You are actually doing them more harm.
Actually, I would say those people are like chasing clout. They just want the followers and the views, but they're not really.
I wonder why people get on social media, just create graphic artists. People just create these things and why?
Like, there are some people that can even see her account, like take a picture of her, then create a whole different account and be giving false info. So that is the area we are at social media. You have to be able to cross-check and watch out.
Watch out and cross-check. You heard that. Leah, I'm sure you have something for us. Let's have it.
Absolutely. And you've given me a great transition to this segment 3, because social media has become the playing ground for everybody. Everybody has decided that they can be a doctor, they can be a nurse, they can be a healthcare professional without any certification. We all put our opinions out there and people have to be careful. I want to offer you this particular statement that was put on social media for you all to tell us whether it's something to laugh about or to cry about. This post was put by Sahara reporters informing that there was a cholera outbreak in Nigeria, and the statement said, cholera outbreak, Nigeria runs out of vaccines as death tolls hits 40 people in Nigeria. Unfortunately, right under this post from Sahara reporters, there was a comment made by someone who says, read this Sahara reporter's headline again, ... After 40 cases, Nigeria runs out of vaccine, ... And he says in bold letters, there is no cholera outbreak in Nigeria. If you doubt it, go around the hospital. It's all fake, just like the COVID-19 scam. It is all a coordinated scare tactics. Now back to you on set. Is this something to laugh about or to cry about?
Okay, I mean, so beside your chair, you have a paddle there. So reach out beside your chair and pick up your paddle. Pick it up, doc. Reach out beside your chair, you see a paddle there.
Okay.
Hold it. On one side of the paddle, there's an emoji, crying emoji. The other side is laughing emoji. So is this piece of information something to cry about or laugh about? Doctor.
I'll laugh and I'll cry.
When you catch it,
I'll
laugh.
you laugh. I am already laughing. Because, I mean, and there is a reason, doctor. What do you think?
Okay, I'm laughing because it's funny. Ha 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 ha. There's no cholera outbreak. Really? You say that? And I'm crying because someone will genuinely see this and say it's true. There's no cholera outbreak, and then go and eat anyhow and do anyhow, and then come back with this infection and maybe me die from it. So you can't say things like that. You don't have the authority. What authority do you have to say there's nothing like cholera outbreak? Go to the hospital. Has he gone to the hospital?
Person said they go around the hospitals.
Well,
That maybe the person works in the hospital, but you work in the hospital. Tell us what's going on.
Before I came on set, we just went to do surveillance for a confirmed case of cholera.
Oh, damn.
Before 2 days ago, I was going to make my hair, and the stylist was not available. She was on admission for cholera.
Huh?
So I know personal cases. So it's not so you can't wake up and say there's no cholera. They are just a scam. What rights do you have? What evidence? And another thing, you don't just make statements without evidence. Give not just any evidence, research backed by research before you say such things. And I'm crying because people would read that and follow his advice. So I'm crying on behalf of the masses that just follow blindly. We need to learn how to be critical, sieve information. Who is this person? If he was the Director General of the World Health Organization, okay, maybe there's something
Obviously
to be
not.
said.
Obviously.
If he was the Commissioner for Health of Lagos State, I said okay. If he was a doctor, a medical doctor, well, I'm like, okay. However, I also know that there are some doctors. It depends on who the agenda. There's some people that have agenda. And what agenda are you trying to push? So we need to be discerning. We need to sieve information. We need to learn to be critical in accepting and assimilating information. Don't just pick everything you see. Check. Is it from a verifiable source? Is it from an authority? Is he a doctor? Not just social media doctor. Do we know? We have social media doctors. We have native doctors.
People that are not trained in medicine, they just give opinions.
Yes.
We have wannabe doctors.
Yes.
So be careful. So when you read something like that, then go and check. Go to World Health Organization site. Go to Nigeria Center for Disease Control website. Go to the Federal Ministry of Health of Nigeria website. These are places you can you're assured because they are the authority in the area of health. So you can, and then the news, what are people saying? What's happening? Because of course the news, nobody can just come and say anything. There are consequences if you spread false news in TV stations that are reputable. What are they saying? So you weigh all these things before you make decisions.
When you catch as a digital marketer, I know you use social media a lot.
Yeah.
Just like Dr. Tu, she's very active with information about health. How do you personally sieve information? How do you navigate? Maybe in the course of trying to do digital marketing for a client, or you're doing research online, you see stuff like this. How do you react to that? How do you
Well,
make sure?
first of all, like in this case, I would say that Twitter never humbled the person because you just give information, no facts. Recently, how people check your tweets, they ask you for a reference. You know, so I'm one of those people. You can post like, oh,
Source.
this person, okay, show the reference. Where is the news? Tell me where I can check it to be sure.
Fact check.
Yeah, but if you don't give anywhere, that's how we know that old guy, Lamba. You're talking to talk. Doesn't make any sense. And then also, because some of them that post, they actually use like techniques. Like in this post, he kind of said it's a scare tactic from COVID. So you're bringing everybody back to that time where you don't know, the government is just increasing numbers or they're trying to scare us, so we stay at home, we don't go out, or they don't want us to discuss, or people like those people that are very religious, they'll be like, oh no, this is the devil's plan. So it's a lie, it's all a lie or something. But what I would advise people is check the sources and make sure the people who post, they have reference. Like they have a website they can you can go and check.
It doesn't even matter if the handle is verified because it might have a blue tick.
In our days, you can subscribe for a verification. Like you can see somebody that only has 10 followers, he has subscribed to be verified and pays Instagram or Twitter a certain amount of $1 every month to keep that verification.
Your verification doesn't mean you're a doctor.
You're a doctor, yeah.
And just because you put doctor in your name doesn't mean we don't know which doctor you're doctoring.
Exactly.
It may not be the honorary doctor or something, unless it's a public health physician, like our humble, beautiful doctor in the
And
house.
most medical pages online, they always have references. It could be their own website, it could be like World Health Organization. So
That's a good way to verify. That's good. Thank you very much, Oyin.
yeah.
And thank you very much, Doctor, for your input. It's been fantastic having you on today's show.
Thank you.
All right,
for
ladies
having
and
me.
gentlemen, it's been an honor to have these two fantastic guests with us on the show. Onyekachi, to my immediate right, who is a graphic artist and digital marketer. And he's given his perspective on vaccination, pandemic, and epidemics, and as a citizen, as a concerned citizen, what your experience has been and how to. I'm sure you've learned one or two things from our conversation. And also, thank you very much, Dr. Anire Chima Oduka. A chocolate like that. Was I spot on this time?
It's okay.
Okay.
We'll let it pass.
Dr. Anire, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing from your wealth of knowledge and experience in medical practice and especially public health on how to identify epidemics, some basic signs of certain diseases and how to prevent, and also vaccine preventable diseases that and also make sure that we do our part, get the right information from the right source. Thank you very much for joining me on the show. So I'm sure we'll have another wonderful time on the next episode of Back to Doc.
Goodbye.